Hi Matthew, I'm Linda.
Hi Linda.
Thanks for coming in today. I understand you want to learn a little bit more about advanced care planning and the completion of advanced directives. So I'm here to help you in whatever way. Why are you here? What would you like to accomplish today?
I'm here primarily because it was something discussed in our office, really. We had all talked about advanced care planning. I think someone had an issue with it with a family member, and we just decided that it would be a fun project for us all to complete an advanced directive and to have one on file. So I'm really just hoping to learn more about what the process really involves and just learn more about it overall.
It typically takes a little bit longer than most people think.
Okay.
So we'll just start with where you're at, which leads me to the first question that I have about what you even know about advanced care planning and advanced directives. Sounds like your department has had a little bit of discussion that they want to do it as a project, but what do you personally know about advanced care planning?
To be quite honest, not a lot. Like I said, we discussed it a little bit at work, and that's pretty much my experience with it. So,
do you know what the goal of completing an advanced directive might be?
I just know it's something that you want to have in place so that you can get the medical treatment that you want.
Okay. So that's a good beginning. Advanced care planning is really for anyone who needs to plan for the unexpected.
Okay.
We could all be in a sudden car accident or have a sudden injury that would leave us unable to make our own decisions.
Sure.
And then doctors and nurses would have to turn to members of your family, those who are close to you, to make healthcare decisions for you.
Okay.
So in that regard, you're right that it's about getting the kind of treatment that you would want in a situation where you couldn't talk, you couldn't communicate, you couldn't make your own decisions.
Okay.
So does that help a little bit think about the why?
It definitely does. It even brings or sheds more importance on it after you've described it like that.
There are three kinds of decisions we ask healthy adults to make. And the first one is thinking about who you would choose to be your decision maker if you had an event and were unable to make your own decisions. Similar to what your mom and stepdad have asked you to be.
Okay.
So who would you want to make decisions for you?
Well, that would be a very difficult choice. There are a couple of people coming to mind right off the bat.
Like?
My cousin is one. My brother is another. But when it really boils down to it, having someone that you know will make the decisions that you want, I mean, it's obvious that this needs to be someone that I can trust wholeheartedly.
So you put a little bit of thought into this?
I have, a little bit before we got here. Again, in our discussions, they were talking about being an agent, and my cousin comes to mind, like I said, but I'm not exactly sure that he would be the person that could follow through and make a really difficult decision for me.
Okay.
And there are factors with my brother as well that kind of lead me to believe that as well.
Okay.
Who else it could be, I'm not exactly sure at this point.
A few things to think about. It sounds like you've had a few ideas in your mind about who you might choose. Number one, who's willing to do this?
Sure.
A lot of times we have loving people around us who would just find it difficult to make those kinds of decisions. So asking someone you're thinking about if they would be willing to do this. Number two, if they'd be willing to learn about some of your goals and values and feelings, as you mentioned earlier.
Sure. Actually
be willing to talk with you about what you might want to have happen if you couldn't make your own decisions.
Okay.
So that they can learn a little bit. We call that being willing to really be a guide for you and not just a person on a piece of paper. Number three, would they be willing to follow your preferences even if they didn't agree with them? And number four, you've kind of mentioned this maybe with your cousin, are they able to make decisions under sometimes stressful situations? Making decisions for a loved one in these kinds of circumstances often is very stressful. And the reason to think about the selection of a person carefully is because they want to do the right thing. But without discussion, they often have trouble doing what you might want them to do. So those are kind of the qualities, we call them, of a person that we'd encourage you to think about. And who it would be for you right now, I'm certainly not asking you to make a decision, but to put more thought into it.
Okay.
And then to approach those people, ask them if they're willing to do it, and then learn what the role might be. With that in mind, I'm going to give you, we have some information here that will help you. A couple of things. We have what's called a planning guide, and it's something that you can review, and you can ask maybe your cousin or your brother, or whomever you might want to choose to be your healthcare agent to review with you. And that may open the door for a conversation between you and them about what this work is all about, what you're asking them to do. They may have a lot of questions that you can't answer, but there's also places where you can write questions down that you might have. So it's a tool that might help you start thinking, as well as open the door to the people in your family that you might want to talk to. The other tool that we have is called the Healthcare Power of Attorney document that your department is asking you to see as the end product to a good discussion, is to document your wishes, document who you would choose to be a healthcare agent, is what we call them in Wisconsin. I'd encourage you to think about who your backup agent might be, similar to what your mom and your stepdad have done. They've chosen you as the second or the backup agent. It's really good to have more than one person chosen. And it will simply walk through how to document some of these choices. I don't expect you to come back with it all completed, but as you review it, it might bring up more questions that you have. Jot them down on a piece of paper. And then when you're ready, it would be great for you to come back with the person who's interested in being your healthcare agent, and we can walk through some of the decisions you've been thinking about, the goals and values that you have, and then walk through how to document those in our legal document in Wisconsin called the Power of Attorney for Healthcare document. I have a card here that I'll give you, and you can call me back when you think you're ready, and we can schedule another appointment. I think one more time would be helpful to bring that person together, and hopefully we can then not only get the document completed, but have the person that you've chosen be more prepared than maybe you are for your mom and stepdad right now. But what you can learn through that is to maybe carry it on to your family as well. Anything else before you leave today?
Not that I can think of.
Great. Well, thanks for coming in. I give you so much credit for getting us started. It's sometimes, again, not something we want to think about, but it's a really important piece to get started, and we'll help you in whatever way we can.
I appreciate it.
All right.